And we welcome you to the 14-turn, one of the hardest layouts that you'll ever imagine trying to drive on, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. It is final practice for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Stop number 23 of the 35 race tour in the 2008 NASCAR Nationwide Series schedule. Welcome back to Montreal. You're looking at the Biosphere, built back in 1967 for Expo 67 on this man-made island. That's right, then when they dug out all the tunnels for the subway, that's where all the dirt came, and here we are racing on it today. Here's the double-duty drivers this weekend. You've got Clint Boyer, David Reagan, Greg Biffle, Carl Edwards, David Rudiman, the 5 that are going down to Pocono and back up to here. And right now, you see that it's Light, Vidovich, Braun, Darnell, and Chris Cook.
Can't complain about being at the racetrack. And this guy here, 19 years old, how cool it would be to be 19 and sitting in one of these cars. Speaking of Colin Braun, who was on pole at Mexico City the last time we were on a road course, and also on pole last week at ORP. But getting the car set up for Greg Biffle today. So what's the difference between, from a mindset perspective, of being the driver or being the guy that's getting it set up?
Well, you know, for me, I'm just excited to be in this 3M Ford Fusion. Like you say, it's great to be at the racetrack, but even cooler to be sitting in Greg Biffle's race car. You know, I know he's out there in Pocono doing a great job, and he's going to fly in here. But, you know, for me, it's just getting this car to drive pretty well. We're looking for that. We're looking for it to be comfortable to drive, easy to drive. And that first practice session, we struggled a little bit. Weren't getting full throttle quite. And made a few adjustments on the car when we didn't have full throttle. Got full throttle there halfway through the session, and then went, wow, some of those changes we made weren't too good. So had to kind of go back, start over a little bit here, but I know my crew chief, Eddie Pardue, will have this thing tuned up here for the second session.
How about the balance of the race car, and is it getting in the corner, getting off the corner? I hear a lot of drivers talk about they're not getting drive off the corner.
Well, for us, we're struck on the brakes, getting down into the corner. A little bit tight in the center, you know, it just won't turn for us in the center, and then coming off the corner, we're pretty loose. Like I told my crew chief, it doesn't do anything great right now, but I'm sure he'll have it tuned up where it will. You know, I was down talking to Boris, said he was giving me some tips and advice. You know, he was pretty fast in that last practice session, so if we can do what Boris is doing, we'll be in good shape.
Look forward to seeing him out there, Marty.
Yeah, I'm sort of sad that he's not going to be running the whole race after the way he's been running a couple of weeks, and also with the way he did it in Mexico.
And discipline is the hardest thing as a race car driver to do, because you want to go as fast as you can every single lap. And if you know if you do that here, the last 20 laps, you're going to be pumping your brakes before every brake stop. And, man, that's not a lot of fun.
Taking a look at young Colin Braun, and he's 14th right now on the speed charts.
Same car that won the pole in Mexico City.
You know, we were talking about this in our meeting. I'm still curious as to why Colin's not in this car this weekend. Why make Biffle do the double duty? He's not in the championship chase. And Colin sat on pole at Mexico on our other road course race.
You know, Marty, go back talking about Colin Braun driving the 16 car and why isn't he in it full time for this week? I mean, a lot of this stuff is dictated by sponsors. Sponsors, a very important area for them. They say, hey, we want this guy at this track or that guy in that track. And things change. You know, a lot of people are asking me, why do you have Max Pappas in a 64 when Stremmy's been doing so good? If it's just planned out that way in the beginning of the year. And Max, we want to try to get a win. And maybe they feel like Greg Biffle's definitely got more potential on this road course than Colin does. It could be something that simple. There's always a sponsorship reason for it, that's for sure.
And you know, Colin's sitting there is like, man, Greg, stay in Pocono, please. Have the weather go bad. I want to drive this car here. I'm having too much fun.
Well, he's coming off his career best finish of second place last week, Vince.
I spoke with Colin Braun about the situation that you guys were talking about, why he was not in the car, and he said, you know, I think Greg just wants to drive it because this track is so much fun. He said, I was only scheduled to be in the car at Nashville and Mexico City, and I've already driven 3 extra races, Milwaukee, Daytona, ORP. He said, I'm just happy to have an opportunity to get it set up for Greg here this weekend. So certainly Colin Braun would like to be in the car, but also understands that it's not his seat right now, and Biffle's going to be in it when he wants to be.
Well, thanks for the update. And I tell you what, he did a great job last weekend at ORP. All right, let's check in more from pit lane. And what's going on in the 16 camp, Vince?
With Eddie Pardue, the crew chief, a little frustrated, he and his driver, about the fact that it's going on longer than 3 minutes. Greg's getting a little impatient in the car, isn't he?
Yeah, 3M Ford Fusion is pretty good, but it's for slick out there now, and these tires need the water to stay cool. So that's what he's concerned about, is getting back out there, getting the water off the track, and not being able to keep the tires cool.
What have you done to try to provide stability to this race car here in these conditions?
Well, you try and get as much grip to the car as you can with the rear bar, hook to rear bar, and the rear shocks, and with a little bit of air pressure, so it's not much you can do. It's going to be slick out there.
You did unhook the rear bar, but you actually ran it that way in practice, so Colin Braun was providing some feedback on how the car was handling. Are you concerned once you go back to the dry tires that the car might not be as stable as you'd need it to be with the bar unhooked?
Well, not really. Like I say, Colin Braun practiced our car, and he tried the bar both ways, so we should be pretty good not running the bar again, so we're pretty happy with it.
Yeah, a lot of mechanical decisions being made down here. Eddie Pardue and his driver, Greg Biffle.
Let's check in the Roush Fenway cam, Vince Welch.
Well, it's very interesting when you've got a veteran driver like Greg Biffle or Carl Edwards, and it's a 19-year-old giving them advice. That's Colin Braun that you see. He was actually in the 16 car during practice for this team, and Braun has experience driving on the road course in the rain from his Grand Am days, and so he was actually on the radio giving advice to Biffle and Edwards about what they might be expecting or what they should maybe expect once they get racing under these wet conditions.